From massive open worlds, unforgettable characters, and quests that somehow turn a 20-minute gaming sesh into a 6-hour marathon, RPGs have given us some of the greatest adventures in gaming history. Today I'm counting down the top 10 must-play RPGs every fan needs to experience. Kicking things off at number 10, we've got Dragon's Dogma 2. This is the kind of RPG that proudly hands you the sword, pats you on the back and says, "On your way, son," with little to no hand-holding. As the Arisen, you once again wander a fantasy realm, this time parallel to the first game's world, slaying monsters and getting caught in endless drama you never asked for in the first place. Pawns, your ever-chatty AI companions, are back, offering tips, combat assistance, and occasionally a reminder that they think they're smarter than you. They can be created, customized, and even borrowed from other players, making them the ultimate companion, well, sometimes anyway. Capcom apparently decided the best way to modernize the series was to make everything bigger, louder, and just inconvenient enough to feel immersive. One gripe I do have with the game is with fast travel being a bit annoying, so most likely we'll be doing a lot of walking in this one. Combat remains the star of the show, whether you're climbing towering beasts or fighting with packs of enemies that coordinate suspiciously well for monsters. The open world is dense with secrets and hazards. Even a simple walk through the forest can quickly turn into a gripping saga of back-to-back battles. Larger monsters like griffins and ogres can be climbed during battle, letting you hang off them like a leech while attempting to stab something important. Bit like Shadow of the Colossus. Dragon's Dogma 2 is an unapologetic, epic adventure, sometimes rough around the edges, sometimes brilliant. It asks you to embrace its quirks, endure its chaos, and trust your pawns, even when they do run face first into danger. If you give it the patience it demands, it rewards you with unpredictable, soulful journey that feels like a true fantasy lived rather than merely played. Coming in at number 9 then, we've got Mass Effect 2. You're back as Commander Shepard again, still saving the galaxy, but now with better shooting, sharper dialogue, and a crew that feels less like background decoration. The opening to this game is still one of my favourites in all of gaming. The big hook here is the squad. Each character has their own loyalty mission, which in a polite way of saying their personal problems become your problems. Whether you're helping someone confront their past or just trying to keep everyone from killing each other, it all builds towards a finale where all your decisions actually matter. Not in a vague, the ending changes slightly way, but in a real, someone might not be here in the end kind of way. Combat is tight and follows a Gears of War cover shooter style, using tech powers and guns to fight enemies in a more of a linear gameplay. It's not revolutionary, but it's competent enough that you won't be thinking about it too much, which is probably the point, but either way you're here for the story side of things for the most part. Just a heads up, if you wait too long to start the final mission after a key event, some of your crew can permanently die, and the game doesn't actually warn you of this. It just lets you live with the consequences after the fact. Mass Effect 2 makes you care about the crew, the choices, and the outcome. It's a rare game where the journey is excellent and the destination doesn't trip over itself, which in this genre isn't always the case. Coming in at number 8, we have Dragon Age Inquisition. BioWare's version of saying, give your players a continent-sized to-do list and they'll absolutely wander off and ignore the main quest for at least 40 hours. As the Inquisitor, you're thrust into a leadership role, not because of merit or training, but because you happen to be standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then it's decided somehow that makes you management material, apparently.
Right.
In typical BioWare fashion, the game offers grand political intrigue, iconic characters, and enough side quests to make you forget what the word urgent actually means. Its 9 massive regions are densely packed with things to do, closing demon-spawning rifts, exploring keeps, and occasionally wondering why your party can't climb a knee-high rock. Annoying. The world is gorgeous, varied, and constantly tempting you off course, with glowing shards and suspicious caves. Combat straddles the line between tactical thinking and stylish spell flinging, opting for a hybrid combat style, blending fast-paced real-time action with tactical, pausable, top-down strategy, making you feel powerful even when your party AI is enthusiastically trying to burn themselves alive. As for progression, it cleverly ties your exploration and tasks to the power, a resource, meaning even picking up a book technically contributes to saving the world. Dragon Age Inquisition succeeds not because it's perfect, but because it knows exactly what it wants to be, a massive, ambitious, and occasionally clumsy epic, where your choices matter, your companions argue constantly, and your map is never ever clear. It's a game that rewards curiosity, embraces chaos, and proves that a reluctant hero with a glowing hand can rally nations, provided they don't get distracted in doing so. In at number 7, we have Elden Ring, a game that was designed from Firm Software when they decided Dark Souls just wasn't humiliating enough, and promptly hands you a horse, an open world size of a small country, and absolutely no guidance whatsoever. Your grand destiny is explained with all the clarity of a cryptic text message before you're punted into the lands between. A place where everything wants to end you, and I mean everything.
I will find you.
kill you.
The world itself is massive, broken into 6 sprawling regions filled with dungeons, secrets, and more bosses than the game should reasonably contain. Mounted combat makes its debut here, letting you gallop stylishly into battle before inevitably being smacked into space by something 10 times your size. Weather systems and day and night cycles alter enemy behaviour, ensuring dangers remain fresh and exciting, even if you'd prefer they not to. Exploration is the game's true reward. Every corner of the world hides a dungeon, a mini-boss, or some bizarre encounter that makes you wonder how many hours of sleep the developers lost during production. Whether scavenging for crafting materials, sneaking around enemies, or summoning spirits to keep you from dying for the 45th time, Elden Ring constantly feeds your curiosity. Although still extremely difficult, it's the most accessible From Software game, in my opinion, as if you're getting your ass beat continuously with a particular boss, you can go to a different area, level up, come back stronger, and then crack some heads. In the end, Elden Ring is an unforgettable journey through a world that delights in punishing you, surprising you, and occasionally stunning you into silence. It's a masterpiece of exploration, challenge, and atmosphere, the kind of game where triumph feels earned, defeat feels personal, and just one more area somehow becomes 3 missing weekends. Whether you chase glory, lore, or simply the satisfaction of finally beating that boss who ruined your whole week, Elden Ring offers an adventure that's as brutal as it is brilliant. Coming in at number 6, we have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Once again throws you into the 15th century Bohemia because nothing screams relaxing RPG experience like navigating Civil War politics, while trying not to starve, stay clean, and not get arrested. Picking up directly after the first game, you're back in the mud-splattered boots of Henry of Skalitz, but now slightly more competent. Still largely powered by good intentions and questionable decision-making, the world is bigger this time, twice as big in fact, offering 2 major regions to roam, get lost in, and probably get beaten up in. NPCs react dynamically to Henry's appearance and behaviour, so you play games to escape reality just to experience being judged constantly by everyone in-game. Brilliant. Combat remains gritty and methodical, focusing less on flashy heroics and more on authentic experience of swinging a sword while thinking, actually, this is pretty hard combat. But the game's real strength is in its obsessive dedication to realism. NPCs, environments, and political conflicts, and even mundane daily interactions feel nearly too believable. This approach creates an RPG that fully immerses you in the medieval life, assuming you enjoy medieval life enough to willingly reenact its hardships. In the end, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a rare RPG that refuses to flatter you, coddle you, or even convince you that you're destined for greatness. Instead, it hands you a grubby shirt, a moral dilemma, and a world that reacts to you like a mildly disappointed dad. It's demanding, uncompromisingly, brilliantly crafted, and if you're willing to meet it on its own terms, it rewards you with one of the most authentic medieval adventures ever put on screen. Coming at number 5, we have Cyberpunk 2077. Might be the only game in history to launch as a meme and eventually actually become a great game. After its disastrous launch in 2020, you had NPCs walking around like Alex Jones,
I'm kind of retarded.
disappearing cars, and Sony yeeting it off the PlayStation Store altogether. It's undergone many patches since then, and Night City now feels like it's finally graduated from a sloppy mess to a top-tier game. Today, thanks to updates and the Phantom Liberty DLC, Night City is a bustling, neon fever dream, filled with believable NPC routines, smarter police, and traffic patterns that no longer resemble physics experiment gone wrong. Night City is divided into 6 major districts, each one with its own culture, crimes, and highly questionable fashion choices. The world is dense, stylish, and wonderfully overwhelming, the kind of place where you stop mid-mission just to admire the views. Combat finally feels great too, whether you prefer hacking enemies up with blades or popping someone in the head with a tech-charged shotgun. Every build feels purposeful, the revamped skill trees actually matter now, stealth works, and vehicle combat exists, even if it occasionally handles like crap. Story-wise, Cyberpunk 2077 is great, focusing on the character V's desperate fight for survival, guided or heckled by Keanu Reeves' digital ghost, Johnny Silverhand. The game keeps the narrative grounded. The side quests in particular are good, always throwing curveballs at you constantly. Cyberpunk stands as one of the game's most dramatic comeback stories, a flawed masterpiece reborn into a genuine great RPG. It's stylish, loud, and thoughtful, messy, and absolutely unforgettable. Whether you're chasing endings, implants, or just cruising the city at night, Cyberpunk finally delivers the future it promised. Coming at number 4, we've got Elder Scrolls Skyrim, old but gold, the game that refuses to die, partly because Bethesda keeps re-releasing it what seems like every other year at this point, and partly because players keep finding new caves to wander into. instead of actually saving the world. To be fair, most players spend their first 10 hours putting buckets on NPCs' heads just so they can rob them blind, or shouting goats off cliffs. Whatever floats your boat, I guess. The world itself is massive, containing over 300 locations, making wandering off track not just easy, but essential. NPCs go about their daily routines, meaning they'll eat, sleep, and complain about dragons while you quietly loot their homes. Combat is an entertaining blend of chaos, sword flailing or spell casting and shouting loudly enough to launch grown men off mountains. And if you feel lonely, don't worry, you can always recruit a companion to stand directly in every doorway. Stupidly annoying. Skyrim endures because it never tells you how to play, it simply hands you a sword, a shout, and then lets you decide whether you're a hero or a menace. It's endlessly replayable, beautifully flawed, where even the smallest detour becomes a new story. Whether you're slaying dragons or being bullied by mudcrabs, Skyrim remains one of gaming's most iconic adventures. Coming in at number 3, we've got Clair Obscur Expedition 33. What a mouthful. It's a game what happens when a small French studio get together after leaving Ubisoft and then show them actually how to make a good game. Starting out, you're dropped into a doomed world of Lumineer, where a deity called Paintress essentially speedruns population control by marking a number on a distant tower each year, the age of which everyone promptly dissolves into smoke and petals, taking inspiration from Thanos in Infinity War, methinks. The story follows the 33rd annual expedition to stop this whole erasing people from existence tradition. It's a bleak premise, but executed with such style that you almost forget the existential dread, until the game reminds you, sort of about every 15 minutes. You have to praise the narrative, art direction and performances here, which are impressive. Combat blends turn-based structure with real-time button inputs, needing precise reactions to get the perfect block or parry. Keeping it very engaging, the system stays sharp throughout the game's relatively lean runtime of 30 to 35 hours, depending on how often you stop to marvel at the incredible set pieces. The story feels impactful, filled with lots of twists and turns to keep you guessing what will happen next. Visually, the game punches far above its weight, especially when you consider it was made by roughly a 30-person development team, and the game also holds the record for the most awards won. In short, Expedition 33 is a stylish, emotional, slightly bizarre, and unfair RPG that stands out in a crowded genre. If you enjoy turn-based combat, existential crises, this one deserves a spot on your playlist. Coming at number 2, we've got The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Remains one of the few games where you set out on an urgent mission to find your missing surrogate daughter and somehow end up spending hours helping peasants retrieve meaningless stuff like a frying pan and playing Gwent. It's an enormous open world with lush forests, huge mountains, war-torn villages and foggy swamps. There's so much scenery to take in, it might just make you reconsider using fast travel. The attention to detail is genuinely impressive. Geralt himself is the epitome of a true professional who just wants to do his job, hunting monsters, but the universe insists on throwing ghosts, feuding barons, and morally questionable sorceresses at him until he caves. Combat blends swordplay with steel and silver swords, magic and crossbows. I know the combat gets beaten up a bit online, but I'm actually a big fan, and it can be moderately in depth, but I imagine some players will spend half the time just rolling around on the floor. The writing and world building are incredibly rich, with a choice-driven narrative that makes every decision feel like it will come back to haunt you, which it usually does. Even the side quests are so fleshed out you'll think they're the main quest line, which is refreshing as a lot of side quests in other games just feel like a mission to fill a glorified shopping list.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
One moment you're slaying a fiend, the next you're trying to save children from some crazy bitches. Sorry, I meant crazy witches. All the while trying to decide who you like more, Yennefer or Triss. Witcher 3 is a sprawling, beautifully written, expertly crafted RPG that respects your time so much it demands at least 100 hours of it. A true classic, whether you're here for some epic storytelling or simply decide you fancied another side quest, it really is a true masterpiece. Before we get to number 1, I appreciate lists like this are subjective. So if there's any games missing, you're screaming at the screen saying, "What the shit? How's this game or that game not made it?" Feel free to shout off in the comments. And if you do love this list, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. At number 1, we have Baldur's Gate 3, a rare game that asks, what if we let players do absolutely anything they want, sends you out into the world just to watch you crash and burn, with all your silly choices, a game that says play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Larian Studios created a sprawling RPG where every decision matters, every dialogue option feels like it was written at 3 AM after drinking too many Red Bulls, and every roll of the dice has you on tenterhooks. The story kicks off with your character getting an alien tadpole lodged into their skull, basically the equivalent of a killer sinus infection, prompting the quest that quickly spirals into magical politics, divine drama, and the occasional accidental explosion caused by an AoE spell, and now the whole room's on fire. fantastic. Combat is turn-based, tactical, and extremely satisfying and tense, especially when your incredibly fragile party member is being seemingly targeted by every enemy and you have permadeath turned on. The companions are a highlight here, each one beautifully written with a genuinely brilliant backstory. Characters actually feel like people instead of generic sidekicks. Some of them you'll love, some of them you'll hate. It's all part of the fun. The world is packed with secrets, branching choices, and enough player freedom to destroy any sense of linear storytelling on contact. Want to solve a quest diplomatically? Great. Prefer to throw a quest giver off a cliff? Also great. Baldur's Gate 3 does not judge. It simply kicks his feet up, sits back, and watches the carnage unfold. In short, it's massive, chaotic, and heartfelt. It's an extremely replayable story where your choices and gameplay actually matter. If this is what modern RPGs can be, everything else just feels a little bit lazy. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.